halves of Sunni and Shia. The Shias believed that only direct descendants of Muhammad should rise and lead the world's faithful. The Sunnis believed that any worthy man could lead. Well, over time, the Sunnis have become the majority of the world's Muslims. President Ahmadinejad, however, is a Shiite. But he's not your normal Shiite. Neither of these guys are. They are an extreme version called a Twelver. For many years, I was told that, no, they don't belong in that. They're not Twelvers. I said, listen to their language. No. The stories of the first 11 imams are generally just historical in nature. But the 12th imam is more supernatural and mystical. And this is where things go awry. The 11th imam dies in the year 874. The 12th imam, who is just a little 7-year-old boy, goes into hiding. They're hunting him. Well, it is believed that he hid himself in a well underneath a mosque, which is blocked by a gate. It is now one of the most sacred sites in Shiite Islam. He was never found. A little boy, the 12th imam. So, the 12th imam, they believe, will eventually come back in the last days. How do you know when you're entering the last days? Well, it's, quite honestly, it's almost like, how do you know when Jesus is coming back? It's 7 years of nightmare, and it's just growing problems. It's chaos, and it's war. But once that ends, the infidels will have been defeated, and the mullahs will rule over a peaceful Islamic world. Now, a lot of Muslims believe elements of this storyline, but the big thing separating people like President Ahmadinejad and your average Muslim is the idea that Ahmadinejad and the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood believe that they can hasten the return of the 12th Imam or Mahdi. The equation is really pretty simple. For the 12th Imam to return and bring an Islamic paradise, you have to have chaos, lots and lots of bloodshed. So, when Ahmadinejad says, let me help hasten the return of the promised one, that means create chaos. So it will bring on the end times, which brings on the 12th Imam. That's the end game that he's looking for. Now, the story sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous to you. It sounds ridiculous to me. I don't believe it, but it's not whether you or I believe it or not. It's whether the people who are running the biggest state sponsor of terrorism on earth believe it. Whether the people that send warships through the Suez Canal believe it. It's whether the people putting the world on edge with a budding nuclear program believe it. President Ahmadinejad actually ran for, this sounds ridiculous but true, actually ran for mayor of Tehran with a 2-point platform. First plank in his platform, I'm going to improve traffic around the city. Second plank, I'm also going to hasten the return of the promised one as mayor. He then secretly ordered an urban reconstruction to take place to make it easier for the Mahdi to get around town if he were to return. And since becoming president, he has poured an estimated $17 million to renovate the mosque, which houses the well, from where the Mahdi will materialize. He's even trying to build a direct train route from the area of the well to Tehran. I mean, you wouldn't want the 12th Imam to have to change trains. I mean, he's got business to do. Chaos. How does this apply to us? Well, we only need to understand that governments like Iran aren't making decisions under the same kind of incentives that we are. America, our allies, what we have left, and honestly, many of our enemies over the years still strive for their own version of peace, stability, and prosperity. But Iran's government isn't motivated by those same things. They want chaos. They want panic. They literally pray for the strength to hasten the return of the promised one. They need the meltdown so their extreme vision of the future can finally come to earth. It's easy to dismiss him, but don't. President Ahmadinejad said this week, the final move has begun. We are in the middle of a global revolution managed by the dear 12th Imam. The Great Awakening is unfolding. One can witness the hand of the Imam in managing it. And then there is this.
Let's support goodness and the majority of people who are good, and the embodiment of absolute good, that is the Imam of time. Hasten the arrival of Imam al-Mahdi, and grant him good health and victory, and make us his followers and those who attest to his rightfulness. O God, hasten the arrival of Imam al-Mahdi, and grant him good health and victory.
He does this all the time. Most people in America don't know the story of the 12th Imam. Most people don't understand its relevance. Tonight, you will. And you can call these people crazy, because I do. I think they're nuts. But do so at your own peril. Last time we discussed the world's and the words coming from Islamic extremists, and we blew them off. We were taken off guard by the worst terrorist attack in our history. Are we going to ignore those words again? Or will we take the people who say they want to kill us at their word and pay attention? All right, America, tonight we are going to go on a very touchy subject. I mean, it's a Glenn Beck program. What do you expect? You're going to hear things that you agree with all the time? Tonight you're going to hear things that you agree with and disagree with, and you're going to be pushed hard. If you are a Christian or a Muslim, both of these are probably going to, there are going to be different points of view, and so they're going to probably hack you off. But I don't always say what I want to say. I say what I think we have to. Don't take anything at face value. Do your own homework. Make your own decision. This is information you need to know, and we're all people here, so we have to try to get it right, but know that it's going to push you to the limits. Tonight I'm going to show you the apocalyptic version of Christianity and the Twelvers in Iran, and also the people that believe in the extreme ends of the Mahdi out of the Muslim Brotherhood. And it's not good. I want to introduce you to Joel Richardson. He is the author of The Islamic Antichrist. How are you, sir?
Very good.
Good to see you. And also, we're going to talk to Zuhdi Jasser. He is a practicing Muslim and a physician, also the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, and he's going to join us in just a few minutes. But I wanted to start here with Joel and talk a little bit about the 12th Imam and the Mahdi as understood by Ahmadinejad and also the nut jobs at the top of the Muslim Brotherhood. Same basic guy, right?
There's a difference with regard to how they emerge onto the world scene, but once they arrive, they're essentially the same individual.
The Twelvers believe it's the 7-year-old. Is he going to come back as a 7-year-old, or does it matter?
I believe he comes back as an adult.
As an adult, okay. And the Mahdi is not the 7-year-old for the Muslim Brotherhood, but he does the same things.
He's an individual that comes back and just emerges out of humanity in order to elevate the Islamic world, to bring the Islamic world together and cause Islam to be victorious throughout the earth. Okay,
first let me go on this, because we have some comparisons of the book of Revelation and then the story of the 12th Imam or the Mahdi. And it is, America, it will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. Let's start first here. Let's start with chaos. Why would anyone want chaos?
According to Islamic tradition, it is out of chaos that their Messiah, the Mahdi, would emerge onto the world scene.
Okay, that is the same basic story that Christians believe. It's going to be a 7-year tribulation. It's going to be nasty for 7 years. And bloodshed, there's not going to be anybody left, really, towards the end. And then the Messiah comes, right?
Delivers the earth, redeems the earth, restores creation,
right,
and delivers his people.
Okay. So it's the same kind of chaos we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Both stories have the beheadings of people in it, right?
Right.
Okay.
The Bible says that the method whereby the Antichrist would kill his enemies, Jews and Christians, is through beheading. And then, interestingly enough, it's Islam. It's actually in the Quran. It says, strike the necks of the infidels. Some translations say, behead the infidels.
Okay.
Islam has this rich tradition of beheading their enemies.
But these guys believe that the 12th Imam is coming if they create enough chaos. So in other words, wash the world in blood, because I don't know if, do you know of any Christian sects that believe they can hasten the return of Jesus by creating chaos?
No, they can pray.
Yeah, okay. but this would be, so you can kind of understand, this would be like some kind of extreme crazy Christian who's like, hey, you know what, Jesus is coming, so let's just get it all over with. What do you say? We go start slaughtering people, so Jesus will come back and split the mountains, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So when Ahmadinejad says, help me hasten the return of the promised one, what does he mean by that?
Essentially, the method that they believe that they can hasten the return of the Mahdi is to attempt to carry out the things that he will do. So they're pushing for the unification of the Islamic world. And some of these radicals believe that by initiating global chaos, that they can force the hand of Allah, force the hand of God to make the Mahdi emerge.
So the best case scenario is, he means that by saying, I want a global caliphate.
Best case scenario, and in the midst of that, we have to consider the fact that you cannot separate that from the destruction of the state of Israel and the Jewish people.
Okay, back in just a second. Tonight, it's big boy time. Tonight is not an episode that you casually watch and take out of context like Media Matters does. Tonight is one that you have to look at and really ask yourself, wow, is this true? Is this true? Do your own homework. This means nothing if you take it from me or one of my guests. You have to know what is true. This is one that... you know, I wouldn't recommend that you ignore the crazy statements of Timothy McVeigh or Jim Jones or Charlie Manson or Osama bin Laden. They all had crazy statements, and then they followed through with it. Usually people who say they're going to kill you, they usually mean it. We don't in the West understand people that are like that. We don't understand the spiritual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood who believes in using children as bombs, or Ahmadinejad who believes in hastening the return of the 12th Imam through chaos. But we must understand that kind of thinking if we are to survive. Tonight, you must consider the unthinkable. Watch this.
I think that there's no question that in this time of chaos throughout the Middle East, Iran is trying to establish themselves as sort of the leader of the Islamic revolution.
They believe that the 12th Imam, the Islamic Messiah, will come at a time of chaos, a time of great confusion in the Middle East. The Iranian leaders are rapidly pursuing the missiles and the nuclear weapons capability that will create the additional chaos and carnage into which the 12th Imam is supposed to come.
We have to know about the 12th Imam because he's important to the people who seek to do us harm. Every speech that I've ever heard Mahmoud Ahmadinejad give, almost at the beginning of every speech, talks about the 12th Imam, gives him credit for guiding him and helping him.
Oh God, hasten the arrival of Imam al-Mahdi.
Oh God, hasten the arrival of Imam al-Mahdi.
In your speeches, you pray for God to hasten the arrival of the hidden Imam.
When the Imam arrives, all of these problems will be resolved.
When he calls for the hastening of the return of the Mahdi, he is asking for that Messiah to return and bring peace and establish Sharia law, but that can only occur when there is an atmosphere globally of bloodshedding chaos. What circumstance could bring about the kind of bloodshed and chaos that would usher in the reign of the Mahdi more quickly than by using a nuclear weapon against the nation of Israel?
They need to annihilate Jewish Christian civilization as we've known it. Why then would they give up their nuclear weapons program?
It's hard for people to understand, especially for Westerners. It's hard for them to understand fanaticism.
Our leaders in this country have not been honest with the American public as to who the enemy is.
Certainly American political leaders can think, look, this 12th Imam stuff is ridiculous, that it's you know, mythical, it's fanciful, it doesn't mean anything. However, The issue is that the leaders of Iran believe it.
There is an opportunity now for us to demand from the elected leadership that they be open and honest about what we're confronted by, and then that they